welcome back to The Movies Made Us Do It. Me and Matt are back. How are you, Matt?
I am pretty good, sir. How are you?
I am very well. I'm very hot. I actually had a beer left on my desk, which I'd forgotten about. So I'm going to drink that. It's extremely warm. It's very warm beer, but it's
help with the hydration.
It'll help with the hydration. No, I have got water too. Don't worry. I literally just got in the door and we just started recording. So, but it's a good one because we've watched a couple of the same things. I don't know which one you want to start with though.
I guess that what I would say is the bigger one.
Which
is with Havoc?
Is that the bigger one? Okay.
Well, only because...
It might be. No. Actually, no. Hang on a minute. I watched the other one this morning. It's definitely the bigger one. It definitely has a bigger budget. That's for fucking sure.
Plus, I think it's been bloody done for like 2-3 years.
Yes, it kind of shows. Okay, so our first film this evening is Havoc, from this year, directed by Gareth Edwards. Gareth Evans. A director I am quite a fan of. He's done a lot of stuff I've liked.
Yep.
Starring Tom Hardy. There's a great cast, by the way.
It's a really good cast.
I was going to say Forrest Whitaker keeps turning up in films that he's way too good for, but he turns up anyway, gives a good performance. Yep. Timothy Olyphant, there were some great people in this movie.
Timothy Olyphant does feel in this movie very much like he just kind of turned up and they went,
oh god, yeah, he
do that sort of bullocky thing. You know,
came off the fucking set of another fucking production and just did a few fucking hours, you know? Yeah.
You've got even like some of the sort of smaller cast members like Richard Harrington,
mm-hmm.
who is really funny. Richard Harrington, who sort of like has been in like Poldark and stuff like that. He's playing a real asshole in this, which is quite cool.
Oh, well, that leads me on nicely to the start of this movie. This is effectively a film about a drug deal gone bad and a asshole cop who basically has to figure out what's going on and make his way through the whole criminal underworld of both this city and other cities. People come in, it turns out that he's had some dodgy dealings himself. He's been associated with Whitaker's politician, and is basically tasked by him, alongside being on the case of the drug bust gone wrong. He is also tasked with finding the son of this politician played by Whitaker. Now, the biggest problem with this film is that everyone's an asshole. Fuck every single person. Ellie. Female cop is the only one, yeah.
Is the only one.
Oh my god, I couldn't believe how... Oh god, I find it really... We've talked about this so many times on the show. The issue of dealing with movies where everybody's unlikable.
Yeah.
And my god, because Ellie's not in it enough.
No, she isn't actually.
For it to work for me.
When she turned up,
yeah.
Jessie Bailey, I've seen, she was in the...
She's terrific, by the way.
Yeah, she was in that... did you watch that Shadow and Bone series?
I didn't know.
It's a sort of YA series that's on Netflix. I actually really enjoyed it. It's not the best sort of thing ever, but it's one of the better of those sort of YA fantasy series.
Yeah.
And she was quite good in it. And she's really good in this. And when she turned up, I was a bit like, oh no, she's going to be the girl boss. That's going to be a bit annoying.
No, not at all.
She's not a girl boss.
But she is right.
It could have benefited from having more of her in it.
I totally think it could have done with having more of her. I think... Yeah.
She would humanize Tom Hardy's character a bit more.
There's no humanizing his character.
Well, they tried really hard with the whole I need to get my daughter stuff.
It didn't work for me. By the end of the movie, I was like, okay, this person's been an absolute dickhead to everyone in his life, his entire life, including the whole way through this movie, and now he has regrets. Sure. Like, I didn't feel like an ounce of sympathy for the guy. I couldn't stand him in this film. Like, fine performance for what it was, but I had no sympathy at all.
I felt slightly more sympathy because I do believe that before he did that job, as it were, I don't believe that he was as much of a wrong one until
maybe maybe. I mean, it's just it's God, you just see thing after thing of this guy just being awful to everyone.
Yeah,
and it was such a hard sell for me. made worse, I think, because I'm pretty sure I texted you when I started watching this movie, and I was like, "This is one of the ugliest films I have seen in a long time." And it's got the I said, to me it felt like you remember Kung Fury?
Yeah.
The comedy, which is quite funny. It's quite a funny short that someone made, internet film, and it reminded me of that visually, where it's just like clearly 95% green screen and not terribly good. It's except with Kung Fury, it kind of worked because it was kind of, you know, intentional.
Yeah.
Someone said, I saw a review earlier, and I hadn't managed to put it into words. And I wish I could remember the reviewer, because I would give them a shout out for saying it here. It was a random video I came across. They said that it looked awful to them, and they said they couldn't figure it out, and they figured it out because they saw something else. They said it's pandemic CGI.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I think he's right. There's like certain that era, there's a look to it all, and this film screams pandemic. And as you said, I think you did say when we were recording, this film's been like about forever.
Yeah,
forever.
Apparently it's had extensive reshoots as well. So I'd be interested to know how much the story and how much the movie has changed since.
I would be curious. It's so right. So I did not particularly like this movie, but there were bits I did like. I didn't completely hate it by the end. I was like, okay, well, some of the action, I think at first there was so much shaky cam and awful CG that I was like, this is really ugly to look at. But there were a few fight scenes that were actually really well choreographed. So I was like, okay, it's not all bad.
This fight scene in the nightclub was brilliant.
Yes, that was particularly the one that I was kind of at the point where I was like, oh god, I guess I'll keep finishing. I guess I'll finish this for the podcast. But that was the scene where I was like, oh, okay, there's hope. That was actually pretty good.
There was a particular one I really loved was when the girl's got the cleaver, and she hits that dude in the leg. He goes down looking at her, and then Tom Hardy comes up behind her and smacks him with the bat, and he goes flying. That was just beautiful.
There's another similarly wonderful shot when I think it's her again. She's fighting off someone, and then Tom Hardy just comes in with a drop kick.
Yeah,
just flattens the guy. It's great.
That was really good. It had some really nice moves and action in that, particularly in that.
Yeah, and some of the house stuff at the end was quite well done as well in bits. Mm-hmm. But there's some really weird editing choices. Like there's the especially towards the end, there's like a gunfight going on, and when, oh god, if you haven't seen this film, you don't understand. When I say gunfight, I mean every fucking idiot in this film has to empty every fucking bullet out of their clip. I'm guessing they were going for the heroic bloodshed thing.
Yes.
But it kind of like, it was like, oh my god.
So Evans has said that he wanted this to be like late 80s, early 90s.
And fair enough. I get
and it does have that feel to it. It is that.
It's trying, for sure.
I am going to hold the trigger down until every bullet is gone, but you know there will be 20 more bullets in that gun than should be possible.
Oh, Tom Hardy definitely has a pistol with unlimited ammo at one point. Yeah. But you know, it's made worse when they do that. But then there's a couple of times when they do it, but at the end was the most egregious one I saw. There was a gunfight going on where everyone is shooting every bullet out of their clips at everyone. Yeah. And then they stop to have a conversation in the middle of it, and nobody shoots or does anything for the entire time of that conversation.
I was sort of waiting. It's like, who's going to shoot first? Who's going to shoot first? But having said that, a lot of those Hong Kong movies used to have that.
Yeah, they did. But
there were quiet moments where everybody would stop, and there'd be like you'd have a standoff sort of thing.
Yeah. No, this wasn't a standoff though.
But no, it didn't.
They were literally blowing each other apart, and they just stopped for a girl to have a chat with someone. It was like, what's going on?
I wondered whether. So the other thing that I thought this movie felt like was it felt very 70s.
Do you know, it's weird because funny you should say that. Because early on, I was suddenly like, what era is this set in? And then
Yeah.
I saw modern cars, and I was like, oh, no, it is modern day. Okay, fine. Because like you, I was like, God, it feels 70s. Like, I'd almost convinced myself that I saw like a late 70s, early 80s cop car.
Yeah.
Like, I just convinced myself that was a thing, but it wasn't.
Well,
yeah,
I did wonder because it does seem to have like it almost looks like it's got a filter over it.
Oh God, there's many filters over this.
Yeah. But it's got that sort of grip, like it has that sort of grimy, gritty 70s sort of filter. I thought, I don't know whether it was just me.
I think they tried that. To me, it just looked really, really ugly. Like I really hated the color of this film and everything. It was disgusting.
I did see some people say, oh, it's the thing with the city is, well, one, it was filmed, I think, in Cardiff.
Right.
And so they were trying to look like, because they never say where it is, I don't think.
I don't think so, no.
But it looks kind of like a cross between LA and New York.
I think they do mention LA at one point, but I think they mention a character's history in LA, not that it's set in LA.
They go to the sort of the Chinatown section,
and
the buildings there are right out of Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So it's got this. The whole place has this weird sort of feeling of not being in a particular city.
Yeah, which I kind of like sometimes. You know.
Yeah, it kind of added to the sort of thing. It was like a nondescript American city that could be New York or Chicago or any of those sort of rough cities. So there was sort of bits of it I kind of liked about it, and there was somebody said it looked like coloured Sin City.
Oh God, do you know that's a really good explanation of how this film looks.
Yeah. It's like a coloured Sin City.
Yeah, like you put it through an AI filter and went, just make this colour, please.
Yeah,
and that's what came out. Yeah, I get that. It again though, it's not all bad. There are some really nice filmed bits as well, which again kind of it adds to the what did this film originally look like vibe of this film, where you're like, was there a different story? Were there different scenes entirely? Like, I'm not quite sure where this, because some shots are like clearly they're like shaking all over the place, like proper shaky cam. And terrible CGI, and then the next minute you'll get like a lovely pan shot, and it'll be like, oh, okay, and and steady shots, and I'm like, okay, so occasionally it's fine, and other times it's just a nightmare.
Because I think there's quite a lot going on as well. You've got the supposed like murder of the Triad gang, and then you've got the boy escaping, the mayor's son escaping, and him trying to find them, and then you've got the other thing of the bent coppers, trying to find him and all that. And it's like, okay, there is a lot going on here, but it sometimes it does not feel like it matches together very well. It feels like some of it was like added later.
It feels like that, and I think, as you said, it was filmed a long time ago and then had reshoots and reshoots and reshoots. I wouldn't be surprised if Timothy Olyphant was not in this movie originally and just got added in like 2023 or something.
Yeah.
Like it's a strange one, this. I must admit I didn't particularly enjoy it.
See, I did.
That's great. I enjoyed bits of it. It wasn't as bad once I got through it as I thought it was when I started watching it, because I was like, oh my God. It definitely got better. And again, the performances, I mean, Tom Hardy's fantastic in the role. I just don't like him. I don't like his character at all. And
Tom
I
Hardy
didn't by the
playing
end.
Horrible characters that you kind of like, though.
I didn't like him in this, though. That was the thing. Like, I think he was just too much of a dick to every single person in the world that I was like, I just hate you. You're just awful.
Yeah, the daughter thing wasn't quite enough to redeem him,
It needed more time.
Yeah.
They needed to spend more time with his daughter, or give us some flashbacks or more of that.
Or just give us more scenes with Ellie.
Because Ellie was great, and he started being awful to her. And it was like, if we'd seen her and him, like her soften him over the movie, because really all that happens is right at the end, he's just like, I've been a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
You know, like, but like if it's a little bit more,
he does give he
trusts her with
up.
stuff. Yeah, well, I thought he might have been dead by the end, but yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, true, but he does give himself.
He does give himself up.
You know.
And again, it is that thing where it's like that would have worked a lot better for me if you'd give him more time to breathe and show us this character softening over time, or coming to terms with who he is now versus what he used to be if he's lost himself, which I think is what this movie was going for. It just doesn't.
I think so. Yeah. I think
there's just not enough time. It's too focused on gore and violence to actually get to you know.
And sometimes it's hard. You know, a lot of those heroic bloodshed movies.
Yeah.
They do have unlikable characters, but there's usually a moment that sort of redeems them, that brings you back.
Which is why I don't think it works here, but does with
in a lot
those
of
movies.
Them, as you just said, a lot of them do just die. So the Hong Kong movies were never afraid to kill their heroes.
Oh God, no! I think at one point it was required by law.
It's standard, yeah. Everybody must die.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it would have been a little more redeeming if he had died on screen. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe if he, let's go the heroic bloodshed route. Maybe if he played some saxophone a bit more, I'd be like, yeah, okay, cool, man. Now I'm down with it.
Go to jazz clubs a bit more.
Yeah, go to some more jazz clubs. And
I would recommend it to anybody who likes heroic bloodshed movies.
I would recommend it if you want to watch some action. I mean, it's got plenty of that. It wasn't, you know, from that perspective, it's totally there. I think I'm just quite a fan of Gareth Evans, so maybe I went in with too high hopes. Maybe.
Possibly.
And it just sounds like it was.
To be honest, it's not a patch on any of these other movies.
No.
Including Apostle.
Yeah, I quite liked Apostle.
I did.
Yeah.
And that was something different for him, so, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's not. It wasn't my cup of tea, but it certainly had its moments and some great cast, as I said. It's Timothy Olyphant is one of those actors. Whenever he turns up, I'm just like, yeah, he's good. You know, he's just good in everything. And this movie, it does literally feel like he just walked off the street and went, yeah, I'll do it.
That's the same with Forrest Whitaker.
Oh, Whitaker. That goes without saying with him, though. I mean, Forrest Whitaker's been in some terrible stuff. And I'm like, why are you in this, sir?
Yeah.
You're so talented.
Like, he didn't... He got some nice moments.
Particularly towards the end, he gets some wonderful moments.
Yeah, the moment when he's in the car with the Triad's mother, the gang boss.
Yes.
And they're talking about, you know, children and what they would do for their children, sort of thing. That I thought was great.
Mm-hmm.
It needed slightly more of that, I think.
Yeah.
To make it a sort of better movie. But I definitely enjoyed it more than you did.
Yes.
I really did, and I did kind of get the feel enough that it made, you know, the warm fuzzy feeling of watching heroic bloodshed movies. It
did it for you.
That itch.
Well, that's all that matters, really.
There is quite a lot wrong with it.
Yes.
And like you said, it is fucking ugly.
Oh God, yeah. I think that would have gone such a long way for me if it wasn't so visually ugly. You know, it made an instant bad impression on me. Like almost instantly, I was like, "Oh my God, this looks terrible."
Because even vehicles during the chase scenes,
it was that opening chase that did it. I was like, "Oh my God, this looks terrible."
They don't even look like they're there. They don't look like they have any weight.
There's no weight to any of it. It all just looks, It looks horrible.
The washing machine at the back of the truck was cool.
Yes,
because that did look practical.
Mm-hmm.
That bit did. But yeah, it's definitely fucking ugly.
Yeah, and
I would only recommend it to specific action fans.
Yeah.
I think if it's certainly not a sort of John Wick movie.
Oh God, no.
You know, it's not that sort of kind of over the top action.
And again, John Wick's a good example of a character that is, you know, obviously quite awful. in terms of what they've done in the past and what they continue to do.
You shouldn't like John Wick at all because he's.
But you gave us something. You gave us enough. You gave us a wife who died of cancer, who tried to get out for her and do the right thing, and then she died, and then you killed the dog, and there's enough there. Here it was like one phone call with your wife, and she's like, your ex-wife, and she's like, yeah, you're awful, you're not seeing our daughter, like, you're just terrible. And then nothing he does after that made me think that she was wrong to say that. I was like, no, you're probably right, you know.
And to be fair, as much as I love Tom Hardy, the fact that John Wick is played by Keanu Reeves gets a lot of weight.
That does help. Yeah, I agree. Although I love Tom Hardy. I think Tom Hardy's great.
But the difference is that Keanu Reeves just has an aura of wholesome about him.
An aura of likability.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that, Tom Hardy's not likable. I'm just saying that, Keanu has a different level of likability.
Yeah. Keanu's got some weird thing going on. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think he's just one of those people that's just genuinely nice.
I think that helps.
It's really rare.
Yeah. I think it definitely helps when you see interviews with someone who's like, oh no, you aren't nice. But then again, I saw a video of Tom Hardy with dogs the other day.
Yeah.
And he is lovely. He is really nice. But
I've never known Tom Hardy to be horrible.
No.
It's just that that there you go. It's just that thing.
Yeah.
That Keanu touch, as it were.
Well, in any case, I would recommend it if you want to pass some time, and Matt, you certainly recommend it, so,
Yeah.
There's worse things to see.
Absolutely.
Well, what would you like to cover next?
So I will go with... Now I'm going to probably mess up how you pronounce this one.
Oh, God, I spelt this wrong a few times, because it was playing tricks on my brain.
Yeah, Exterritorial.
Yeah, which sounds really easy, doesn't it? But when you look at it, there's something about the word written down that when you look at it, you're like, I just can't process this word.
It's worse than that. I'm dyslexic as well.
Oh, okay. I don't have that excuse.
I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, right, I know what that word is. I'm not sure my brain does, though. So, Exterritorial.
I think I just kept wanting to be like extraterrestrial. And that was what my brain kept going to. And it just wouldn't let me type anything else. I don't know.
Yeah, because when you look at it,
if you glance past it quickly,
my brain thinks aliens. It's like, no, it's not. It's not aliens.
It's not aliens. No.
So it's a Netflix movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's German, basically. It's a German movie, directed by Christian Zuber. Stars Gianna Cassard, Dougray Scott, and Lara Ababov. Sorry. And it's so I think the trailer for it is slightly misleading, but only slightly. So our main character is Sarah, who is a damaged soldier. She's an ex soldier who in Afghanistan was the only survivor of a mission gone bad. Her partner was also there, but he didn't make it, and she discovers that while she was actually doing that mission, that she was pregnant with his kid. So when she recovers and she's left, she has a child. In the first scene we see, she's in a park with her young kid, and they're talking about the father, who was American, and there are lads playing football around and all that sort of stuff, and there's a helicopter goes over, and as the helicopter goes over, she has flashbacks.
Yeah.
And one of the soccer guys bumps into her, and she basically decimates the poor fucker.
Right. Okay.
So you see that she's got serious PTSD issues.
Mm-hmm.
Then it jumps to a couple of years later, and her and her son are going to the American consulate,
right,
to get repatriated. So they're going to move to America, so that she can basically bring up her son with with his family sort of thing. And in this consulate, we've got Dougray Scott's character, who is, I think he's supposed to be CIA or something like that. And she goes in, and her son's sort of playing up a bit, and she sees some sort of weird, like a package exchange to people
right.
are, swapping a bag, and she doesn't really think anything of it, but she sees it, and she's, it sort of ignores it. While her son's playing up, they're waiting for their turn at the desk, and she takes him. Eventually, she takes him. I think the woman behind the desk says, "What?" She says, "Oh, there's a playroom you can go into." So she takes him and puts him in the playroom. There's a PlayStation there, and he starts playing. She says, "Oh, okay, I'm only going to be a couple of minutes. I'm just going to go and get a coffee." So she goes off. She comes back, and he's nowhere to be seen.
Right.
So then it becomes my son's missing, blah, blah, blah. And then nobody believes her.
Right.
So they all say, there was a I think he's a gunnery sergeant. There's a gunnery sergeant on the desk when she came in, and she says to him, "Look, I came in with my son. You were there. You were on the desk. I came in with my son." And he says, "I didn't see you with anybody. You came in alone."
Right.
So we've got the paperwork here. You only registered yourself. You did not register a child.
Okay.
Now, what then proceeds is she basically is told, she's got to leave the place. Obviously, she phones the police, and obviously the police are like, "We can't go in there. That's American territory. We've got no jurisdiction there. So, that's it," sort of thing. She ends up basically escaping, but keeping within the place, and she then does this sort of thing where she runs around the roof and escapes and tries to find is trying to track down her son. But what's also happening is it might be that she didn't actually.
Yeah, it may just be in her head, and it's a PTSD.
She might be that much damaged that she doesn't have a son.
It sounds interesting. I quite like this as a premise.
Yeah, the trailer doesn't really show that. The trailer doesn't.
I've not even seen the trailer, so
it doesn't show any of the PTSD, and it doesn't show any suggestion that this might not be real. And there's a bigger, obviously, it ends up being a sort of there's some sort of weird conspiracy going on as well, because before she goes in to the consulate, she gets this phone call from a journalist who sends her this video, and he says, "Is there anybody in this video you recognize? Because we're investigating the incident in Afghanistan in whatever year it was, like 5 years ago or whatever it was." And she doesn't recognize anybody, but obviously there's some that will come up later, clearly.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. The main actress, I have seen her before. She was in that series Barbarians, which is also a Netflix series.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've seen that series, but she does look really familiar.
Yeah, she's really good. I really enjoyed her. I sometimes didn't quite believe the whole chucking around dudes twice her size.
Okay.
There was a couple of fight scenes where she's using her elbows a lot, and some of them really look like they're not making any impact at all. They don't look like they're doing anything. I think that's probably the way it was filmed, and not necessarily her fault.
Sure.
It's just, I think
I mean, framing is everything with that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
for sure.
They don't quite look like they're gonna. But there is some really nice sort of stunt stuff, which there's one particular one where she jumps off a building. She jumps off this building to get to some stairs, and she fucks it up and just basically plummets. That was really good.
Oh, cool.
There's a couple of times where you sort of think, okay, there's a certain amount of hits someone can take and it's believable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then there's some of the hits that she takes, and you just think, no, she's not fucking getting up. I'm sorry, there's no fucking way she's getting up after that. But it's fine. It's fine. Dougray Scott's great. He doesn't really get an awful lot to do, but sort of.
I like Dougray Scott.
Yeah, I
think
too.
He's fantastic. He's another one that will often turn up in rubbish.
Yes. I mean, he was in that bloody awful Batgirl.
He was in Batgirl, apparently, yeah.
And from what I've seen of it, he looks drunk for when.
I don't blame him. Yeah.
No, I don't blame him either. Did you know he was married to Claire Forlani?
I didn't know that. No.
I didn't know that. They've been married since 2007, which is.
I had no idea. No.
It's written and means nothing really. I was just interested.
But I do rate him as an actor. So
I do. Yeah. And I always have that thing for him where it's like, oh, he could have been Wolverine, poor bastard.
Oh yeah, I think he would have been great as well.
I think it would have been a lot different, but I think it would have been good.
Yeah. Well, the thing that people forget is, that portrayal of Wolverine, certainly as it started off, was not very Wolverine-like anyway. Hugh Jackman is not very Wolverine-like. No. I think it's been around in the public conscious for so long now that people forget that even Hugh Jackman wasn't really suitable for Wolverine. Over time, I think the older he got, the better he got at it. But
certainly by the time you get to Logan, that's much more Wolverine.
Yeah, but Dougray Scott, I think he would have been great.
Yeah, I do.
I would have liked to have seen that.
But this movie, it's got some really nice little touches in it. I like the cast are pretty cool. It was actually I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going. I thought I was just going to see. I thought I was just going to see a sort of a dumb action movie, but it's a little more than that. There's a little more. It's the sort of conspiracy PTSD angle. I really liked. I thought it was done quite well. I mean, I'm not saying this is going to be, it's not going to blow you away with its portrayal of that, but no. I thought it was handled nicely enough that it worked for this movie, and it's an easy watch. They were charming enough. There was some nice action scenes. Directed fine. Again, nothing's going to blow you away, but it was good. I really enjoyed it, and I'd recommend it to you that as a sort of action drama movie with a likable lead.
Cool. Yeah, I will probably check that out. I think the premise sounds interesting in any case. So I will probably give that a go.
I mean, the moments where she's sort of confronted with her disability, if you like, you do really question: did she come in with a kid? Is she more sort of damaged than we think, or is there something going on here, or so that I was quite impressed with that aspect. So I would recommend it.
Cool. Well, I will certainly give that a go. Do you want to cover the other movie we've seen together, or do you fancy a break while I talk about something else?
Have you've got something else to
I have one other thing, but you've got one other thing as well. So.
And you cover it. You go next then.
Very well. I saw Mickey 17.
Oh.
Directed by Bong Joon-ho, starring Robert Pattinson, Naomi Aki, Stephen Yeun, Toni Collette, and Mark Ruffalo. I have heard hideously negative things about this and amazingly positive things about this, and I must be honest, fell somewhere in the middle. Didn't think it was as bad as I'd heard. Also didn't think it was. I can see both sides of the argument, let's put it that way. There was a lot of this movie I really, really liked and loved, and there was a lot of this movie that was awful and I didn't like.
When the initial trailers came out, and the initial, it's Bong Joon-ho doing another sci-fi type thing, I thought, great. I'm completely on board with that. You know, I like.
He's another director. I'm a huge fan of his work.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. So I was, and then when the reviews started coming out, and there was all this sort of Mark Ruffalo Trump stuff, I'm like, oh.
Well, I will say that the Ruffalo Trump stuff, that not even the fact that he's doing Trump, to be honest, it's just bad. It's just really bad anyway. Like if Donald Trump didn't exist, it would still be really awful. You know, like it's just not a good performance, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like distractingly bad. But yeah, I mean, I've loved his other work, like The Host, Snowpiercer, Parasite. You know, love those movies. I know you were a huge fan of Mother as well. I was less of a fan of that, but Mother? Didn't you do Mother? Sorry?
Mother,
the South Korean. No, did you not do that one? I knew you did the other Mother. I thought you did. Maybe I'm getting confused.
I was thinking of.
Oh no, not.
No, I fucking hated that movie.
Matt, that was one of your that was one of your epic hates. That movie.
Yeah, that's Darren Aronofsky.
Yeah, no one likes that movie. Do you know no one I know likes that movie? No one I know likes that movie. I'm quite proud to say that. I hated that movie. No, not that movie.
That fucking movie.
But in any case.
Yes, I know the one you mean now. Yeah, it is. That one's called Mother as well.
It is called Mother. Yeah. So in any case, the film follows the story of Mickey Barnes, who well, I guess it doesn't, but it kind of does. Mickey Barnes is him and his mate Timu. They have this business venture. I think they're like opening like a macaroon shop or something silly like that.
Okay.
And they get indebted to a loan shark who is a complete psychopath and has basically said, anyone that owes us money that doesn't pay up, we will find you and kill you. You cannot escape us. If you go anywhere on the planet for any amount of money, we will find you and we will murder you. So they think, let's leave the planet, is their logic. Timu signs up as normal. Mickey signs up to be an expendable. And when he's signing up, the woman kind of looks at him sideways and she's like, You're volunteering to be an expendable? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, did you read the paperwork? And he's like, yeah. And you get really fun commentary because he kind of recounts this story, and there's a lot of internal monologue as the film goes on. And he does says at that point, he's like, I should have read the paperwork. He just basically signed up to be this expendable. And effectively what an expendable is that it at some point in the future, this is set in 2050 or something, at some point in the future, humans developed the ability to clone themselves. So they can create a copy. They basically 3D print a new body, and they upload your memory. So your memory can be downloaded into the new body. You know, it's science, a staple of science fiction.
Yeah.
However, in this case, I think they say the first person to have ever done it was a serial killer. He invented it to kill more people, and they arrested him, but then they arrested him again, and then they arrested him again because there were 3 copies going out murdering people.
Yeah.
So basically, it's.
I want to see that movie.
Yeah, I know. I kind of want to see that movie. Oh no, maybe he didn't invent it, but he was the first one that did multiples. Which is, there's a thing called multiples where you've basically, the rule of the universe is expendables since the serial killer thing have been outlawed on Earth, looked down upon as a terrible idea. In space, it's still allowed outside of Earth, but even then, they hate multiples. So the whole idea is there's one of you. There's only ever one of you.
Yeah.
You can be an expendable and die 1,000 times, but there can only be one of you at any one time. So you die, and then a new one is printed, right? That's the idea. So Mickey and Timu have signed up with this Trump guy, played by Mark Ruffalo, Kenneth Marshall, that's his name, and he's basically a failed politician who's gonna create a new planet. He's going to go find a new planet, and that'll be their new Earth, and it'll be wonderful. And treats all of his people like all of his followers are just brainless, devotees. And Mickey and Timo are on board with that. So obviously Mickey's life is a nightmare. He basically, because he's an expendable, they quite often will just kill him to see what happens.
Okay.
Like they send him outside to repair something on the ship, and he's like, "This is already repaired," and they're like, "Oh yeah, Mickey. So you're now you have taken a hideous dose of radiation, and I want you to basically talk to us and tell us what's happening to you as it's happening until you die. Let us know when your skin starts falling off, buddy." So he is basically given these horrible tasks, which he knew he would. I guess he knew he would get the horrible tasks anyway. But sometimes they're not even tasks. They're like, I wonder if like if there's a potentially dangerous atmosphere. They're like, why even test it? Just send Mickey out and see what happens. It's kind of the way they treat him. But he comes across Nasha Barrage, played by Naomi Eki, who falls in love with him almost immediately. She clearly likes him. He likes her. They fall in love, and she stands by him through everything. Whenever he has to do some horrible task, she stands by him and looks after him. Like there's the time when they purposely infected him with virus and whatnot, and he was in incubation thing, dying. She sat with him. She truly loves him, and it's quite heartwarming. I think their relationship's really cool. But on a mission to this ice planet that they plan to colonize when they arrive, they send out Mickey and Timo. Mickey basically ends up falling through the ice and injuring himself. He basically, I think he like breaks his leg or hurts himself in some way. And they're like, okay, you're going to die. We'll see you later, Mickey. And they just leave him at the bottom of this chasm that he fell down. He's like, because almost certainly he's going to freeze to death. But then this creature arrives, this giant, well, actually there's a bunch of little creatures, and then there's a giant creature that turns up. And seemingly eats him from our perspective at the start of the movie. But as it turns out, it didn't eat him. What it did was it actually rescued him. It actually took him out of the cave and put him back on the surface. But of course, then he has to walk back. And during that time, they assume he's dead and print another Mickey. Mickey 18 is then printed. And each of the Mickeys come out slightly differently in their personality. Their personality is slightly different. Like 18's more aggressive and more like of an asshole than Mickey 17. Mickey 17's really kind of
passive.
Yeah, really passive and just like non-aggressive in any way, and just really kind of heartwarming and lovely, despite this horrible this horrible job he has and horrible life he's suffering through. So yeah, I think the plan was that he was going to earn enough money to then go back to Earth, so he'd just have to be an expendable for like 4 years or something or whatever. But in any case, then the film goes on from there, and I won't spoil too much from that point on. There's two versions of Mickey, which makes the multiples, which is against the space law, and Mark Ruffalo and Toni Collette. Toni Collette, wonderful in everything she's in, wonderful in this too. She's his like wife, and they basically are shown up to just be horrible people, treating their people like absolute garbage, and it kind of goes from there, and it's it kind of becomes about the planet and the creatures living on the planet, as well as Mickey. And obviously, Mark Ruffalo's character is not happy that there's these creatures on the planet, these seemingly intelligent creatures. He just wants to eradicate them so they can move in, because they've decided this is their home. And obviously Mickey is against that. So I don't want to spoil too much, because I do think a lot of this film I've really enjoyed. I really love Robert Pattinson's performance. In fact, I actually really liked almost all the performances. The Mark Ruffalo one really didn't work for me. And I do think whether you hate Trump or support Trump, I just thought it was a really bad performance. I just thought it was cringy and terrible. Didn't work for me. I don't really have a care either way. If you want to do political commentary or whatever, I'm all for it. If you want to do it. But yeah, I didn't like his performance at all. I also think the film is probably too long, if I'm honest. I would have lost a little bit out of the middle, because it did feel overly long to me. But there's some really nice bits. There are some. It's quite heartwarming in a lot of places. I think the performances are great. I think the creature designs are really cool, and there's a lot of Star Trek in it. You know,
they look tardigrades, don't they?
Yeah, they do look a lot like tardigrades. Yeah. But yeah, I'd
be happy never to see another fucking tardigrade again.
Oh yeah, but these are they're not treated. No, it's not Discovery. Don't worry about that. When I said there's a lot of Star Trek in this, I meant there's a lot of ethical dilemma.
No, I was just.
I wasn't even thinking about Star Trek fucking Discovery. But you're right. I could go without seeing that ever again. But yeah, so I would definitely recommend it. I'd be curious what you made of it, but it's certainly not perfect, and I would say it's probably my least favorite of Bong Joon-ho's films that I've seen personally.
Yeah.
But I did still enjoy quite a lot of it, so I would still say I recommend it. I overall had a good time. I think there's more good than bad for sure, and most of the bad does center around that Mark Ruffalo character.
Yeah.
Who is meant to be unlikable, so from that standpoint, like, I guess it worked.
Yeah, I guess so.
But
I see Holiday Granger's in it. I really love her.
The whole cast is there's a really, really great cast. I genuinely enjoyed it. I thought it was suitably weird and Bong Joon-ho, in that way. It's like, yeah, this is definitely one of his movies. Some of the comedy, because it is a black comedy, some of the comedy I thought was great. I actually laughed quite a bit, some of it. Particularly Robert Pattinson's Mickey 17 telling the stories of his past and kind of his internal monologue as things go along. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. It's just overly long, and the Mark Ruffalo performance didn't really work for me. But yeah, I would recommend seeing it anyway. What else have you watched?
Okay, should we go with Ash then?
Sure, let's go with Ash. So this film, I completely forgot we were going to see until you messaged me about it, and then I saw your message this morning, and I was like, oh, I could probably fit that in before work. It's not too long. Swift 95 minutes, and I was like, well, 20 minutes of that'll be credits. So
yeah,
this is how I do my morning math when I'm like, I've got to go to work, but Matt's seen this movie. Have I got time to see it? I'm like, well, credits? Yeah, probably I can get it in. So I thought, why not? And yes, so Ash is a science fiction horror movie starring Isa Gonzalez, right? And Aaron Paul.
And it's Iko Uwais as well.
Yes.
Directed by somebody called Flying Lotus,
which I thought was just made up, but apparently that, I guess, is their name.
I'd never heard of him.
I'm assuming he's given himself that name. Yes, he has. I'm on Wikipedia. Yeah, his name is Stephen Ellison. I was like, you were not. There is no way you were christened Flying Lotus, sir.
Yeah, he's a music guy, and okay. He also did the soundtrack as well.
I quite liked bits of the soundtrack.
Now, I love the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And he said he based it on Carpenter's.
Yeah, it shows. It shows.
I can see that.
Totally agree.
So yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed his soundtrack.
So
I see on his complete aside.
No, go for it.
Because it amused me.
Yeah.
Is that on his biography type thing. There's a couple of pictures of him. And there's a couple of pictures of him with George Clinton, and that just really appealed to me. That just put him up in my standing. Is anybody stood next to George Clinton immediately gets kudos. I love George
Clinton. So on a distant planet, somewhere in the future, Raya wakes up, basically. She discovers her entire crew have been brutally killed somehow, in seemingly shockingly violent ways. And to make things worse, she's lost all of her memories. She's got amnesia. So she doesn't remember anything at first.
Yeah.
And she obviously becomes quite paranoid and scared and unsure. I thought they did quite a good bit at the start where she walks outside the station, and I was just like, the hell are you doing? Like, put a space helmet on. And then, of course, you realise she's got amnesia, and you're like, oh, okay, because she kind of walks out, and she's out there for a bit. And I thought they did it quite well, because they left it long enough, and then she starts coughing, and I'm like, well, yeah, I'm surprised it took this long. But I thought it was quite a nice pause.
Yeah, I did. I like that.
It took a while, and then she started, like, realising and ran back in. But she has no memory, and then Brian turns up, played by Aaron Paul, who basically said he was on a mission, wasn't he?
Yeah, there's like
it's like an orbital
station.
That's right. Yeah,
station that orbits the planet, and it lines up every 12 hours or something, or so many hours.
Yeah,
and there's like an opening where he can come down, and he basically says he received a distress. Is it
from her? I think he got the message from her, right?
Yeah, saying that one of the crew had become infected.
Mm-hmm.
With an organism, and everything had kind of gone to shit.
Yes, she was not wrong.
She was definitely not wrong.
So I like she immediately attacks him because she's like, she has no idea what's going on. But they quickly realize what's going on, and she's like, okay, like, I've lost my memory. I don't know what's going on. So you have an element kind of the thing. No, they don't trust each other particularly. They want to, but they can't.
Mm-hmm.
That's going on. I think it's made more complicated by Rhea. It's like, can she even trust herself? Maybe she murdered them. You know, there is that kind of question as well. She really doesn't know.
There's certainly. I mean, she keeps getting flashes of things.
Yes, and flashes from a first person perspective often.
Yes, so it's certainly suggesting that she did them in.
Yes.
But then, like you said, did she do them in, or is it not? Is it a false memory? Is it?
Yeah.
You know. I thought unlike Havoc, I thought the CG in this was way better. Apart
from the spaceship at the end, I agree.
Yes,
that looked terrible, like really bad. But a lot of this movie. So the thing is, especially with a film like this was a low budget movie. Clearly, 1.1 million. I thought there's a lot that go with effects. For me, a lot of it has to be intent.
Yeah,
and I felt like the intent and the direction of the movie was fine, and I was like, yeah, the CG's not great in places.
Yeah.
But the practical stuff looked great. And
apparently the director learned how to do CG stuff from YouTube videos.
Well, fair enough. I mean, I thought they did well enough to tell the story.
And some of the space shots, I think that
and also some of the shots in this movie, if we're talking about Havoc, which I thought was ugly as sin.
Yeah.
Some of the shots in this movie were actually quite beautiful.
Really pretty.
Yeah.
And I will add the caveat that I think it's easier to get space shots.
Oh god, yeah, of course it is. There's a lot less going on than a car chase like, going down the middle of a road and
shiny bright colours and things.
Yeah,
it's cool. I mean, I like that sort of like weird looking portal-y sort of thing that she's looking up at one point.
Yeah.
Which they never really explain. They just go, "Is that in her head?"
Or was that just there for the title of the film? I don't know. It's kind of weird.
I'm not sure.
But yeah, this movie is it's not perfect. That is for sure.
It feels like an expanded short.
Yes, it really does. Dude, nail on head. It feels like a YouTube short made into a film.
Yeah.
And I think if it had been about half an hour long, it would have been great.
Mm-hmm.
I think it feels almost criminal to say that a 96-minute movie is overlong, but there wasn't enough material here. I don't think. Or certainly because as much as I don't I don't dislike Isa Gonzalez. I don't. I've seen her in some stuff. I think she's fine. I just didn't think she was quite strong enough to pull this off in places. Not all the time. Sometimes she was fine, but other times I was like, ooh, you know.
Yeah.
And I just, I'm not sure. I feel like if it was a shorter film, you could have been a bit tighter with things.
See, I thought Aaron Paul was the problem.
Well, he wasn't.
I haven't seen Aaron Paul. I've never really watched
Breaking Bad.
So I don't really know how. And I've only ever seen him in a few things, so I don't really know how well he is as an actor.
Yeah.
I did try to give Breaking Bad a go a number of times, and never fucking.
I didn't think. By the way, I didn't think Gonzalez was terrible. Like I thought she was fine in a number of. I thought she was fine. It's just a few bits where I was like, you know.
There's a couple of scenes between them where they're like shouting dialogue at each other, but they're not really shouting. But it feels very much like it's like a fucking Wes Anderson movie. They're like they're like talking at each other, not to each other. If you know what I mean? And I thought, oh god, is he really gonna do? What is he doing? Why did he choose to do it that way? And I don't know him well enough to know whether he's a bad actor or whether it was just that particular
that
role.
Was the performance. Yeah, I think he is meant to be untrustworthy.
Yeah, of course.
So there is that element to him.
Yeah.
And I think he got that across because I was like, maybe he is, maybe he's the bad guy,
Yeah, I sort of got. I did get that from him, but it did feel a bit weird. I love some of the designs. I love the spacesuits were fucking cool. However, those spacesuits would have caught on everything. Yeah,
style over substance. There's like wires and tubes coming out everywhere. And you're like, this is a terrible design.
Like that. It's really pretty. It's got these really cool
it looks awesome, but
stuff on the back and on the shoulders. Those like glowy bits are fucking awesome. But there's no way would you design a spacesuit like that. That would it would last 5 minutes on a harsh planet in that suit.
Yeah, the crew of the Nostromo would have died just getting to the derelict and those things. They would just got caught up on some rock and just
getting out of the front door.
I overall though gotta say, it's a pacey old thing. I quite enjoyed it.
I did too. I really enjoyed it.
It's super low budget.
The main problem with
it's not breaking any new ground. Let's be clear about that.
It will remind you of about 50 different things.
100%, and most of those things are better than this.
Yeah, so you've got like the thing. You've got that. I never remember the name of that bloody movie with Dennis Quaid, where they're on the ship and somebody, the main character wakes up and everything's gone to shit, and there's like weird primitives in it's like not Vivarium.
It's not Vivarium. That's that.
I never remember, but there was
I know the film. Yeah,
paranoia aspects were very similar as well, and there's a lot of sci-fi stories and things that I've read that are again all very similar. And I don't know whether you had this. You watched it on Amazon?
Yeah.
So when you get to the end of a movie on Amazon, or Netflix, then they chuck up hey, you watch this.
Go watch something else. Yeah.
Yeah, and they give you like a countdown before it go into it. Did yours come up before it even fucking ended?
I don't think so. Oh yeah, no, it might have come up as the spaceship was taking off.
Yeah,
but I mean that I assume that was the end. But yeah,
have got the very end with the station.
Oh no, you're right. No, it was the same. Yeah, it did do that. You're right.
It's like what?
Yeah,
you just some people won't bother to. I mean, you don't really need to because it's kind of fucking obvious. But it sort of came up with that, and I'm like, but the picture's still going. Why are you telling me? So Amazon fucked up on that one, which is really fucking annoying. But overall, I really liked it. I actually thought she was pretty good.
I thought she was. I like I said, I didn't think she was quite strong enough to carry the whole performance. But this is the first time I've seen her starring in a role, and it's certainly there's a lot of this film where it's just her, So I think given the brief, I think she did pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I certainly I don't dislike her. I thought most of her performance was good. So
I love her as Darling in Baby Driver. I mean, she doesn't get a lot to do, but I think she's great in that. And she was really good in the Dusk Till Dawn series.
I never saw that series. I know she had a bit part in Alita as well, didn't she?
Yeah, and the Godzilla vs Kong.
She was hideously unlikable in that.
Terrible in that, but that's not her fault.
They must have told her to like act like a piece of wood, please.
Yeah,
because I know she's better than that. She's definitely better than that.
Yeah. She was supposed to be unlikable,
and she succeeded. Yeah, she totally succeeded.
Yeah.
And of course, Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare as well.
Oh yeah, she was pretty good in that actually.
Yeah, she was fine in that. So yeah, no, she's good. But this is, to my knowledge, is the first thing I've seen her in where she is the star.
Proper front and centre, yeah.
And I thought she did fine. You know,
I was a little annoyed. Iko Uwais was completely fucking underused. He gets one. It's like they hired him just to do that one scene in the lab.
Yes,
and that's it. Which is, it's actually quite a good scene. And weirdly, there's some weird sort of cuts in that, which I'm gonna put down to her memory and not bad directing.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I know that Joseph Gordon-Levitt was originally going to be in this movie, and I didn't know whether there were some weird cuts because maybe they filmed some stuff with him. I think he left before production started, though, from what I understand, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. This film does play with her memory quite a bit, and for the most part, I thought it was quite successful, actually. I thought it did it quite well.
Yeah. I mean, there's some scenes where one of the scenes that made me laugh a lot, and I don't think it was supposed to be remotely funny, but it's the scene where they're what's his Brian or whatever his bloody name is.
Brian with an I for some reason.
Yeah.
Brian. It's I-O-N. Brian.
There's like a breach, and they have to go and seal the breach, and she climbs through these like tunnels and stuff. Then she has to ditch the suit, which isn't funny.
It is funny because the suit is really dumb.
Maybe that's what it is. I just found hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing at that bit because she just ditches this like suit to sort of go through, and you do sort of think, well, it's a terrible suit anyway. But then you also think, but surely she needs to breathe something. Can she not just keep the helmet and the tank or something? There must be something she can do to get in there.
You would think so.
Mask or something.
He's just like, good luck. You're basically breathing in poison in there. Have fun.
I'm sure they had some just breathers.
You would think so. You would think so. Or different suits, you know. For indoors repairs, because clearly you need to climb into small enclosed spaces, and these suits are completely impractical for that. I also did find it funny that there is an alien creatures in this film. That would come as a shock. I wouldn't have thought, or a spoiler. They do turn people hideous, except for her.
Yeah,
and they can just crawl inside her, and she'll still look fine.
Some of the effects on the sort of morphing faces was a bit bad.
It was. The quote unquote, because it's not really, but the quote unquote creature at the end I thought was suitably hideous and gross.
Yeah, very cool.
Liked that.
The director made a mistake by saying, "Oh, I was influenced by Resident Evil," and you go,
"Oh yeah,
that's exactly what that scene is."
That's exactly what that is. Yeah,
that's like the end of Resident Evil 2, is it, or
most of them?
One of the early ones, I think.
Yeah, 3 maybe. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, so you basically just lifted it straight from Resident Evil, which is kind of fine, but you know, if you say it, I guess. I suppose at least he's owning it.
At least he's honest about it and just say, you know, here are my inspirations are Resident Evil games and John Carpenter. Fair enough.
Which, free.
But I had fun. It was a fun movie.
I did enjoy it. It's good enough. It's like I said, it's an extended short, but it's enjoyable.
And it is still short enough that it's not gonna.
Yeah, it's only like an hour and a half, so it's not it never felt to me like it was dragging or anything.
No, totally agree.
It just felt like it could have done with a little bit more, maybe more with the actual crew before everything went to shit. You know, well,
yeah,
no,
I feel like to the point of doing a the Thing style paranoia, I feel like maybe one more crew member surviving would have helped as well.
Yeah,
you know, just the two of them was like, that made it feel like it should be a short to me.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, you're already down to 2 people, okay, you know. Or have a lot more time with her on her own before he turns up, and explore her memories and what she thinks she remembers and stuff beforehand. But yeah, more stuff with the crew, be it flashback or be it them still being alive, would have been helpful.
Yeah.
But overall, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, there was good fun. There was a lot to like in it.
Yeah.
You know, it was nice enough. It was an enjoyable little sci-fi movie that wasn't too taxing or.
Oh, certainly not. No.
Yeah, there was some sort of fun.
Yeah.
So. Sure there was bring up. I can't remember what the hell it was.
Oh, okay.
I honestly can't remember what it
was. It'll come back to you. Just say it when it comes back. Anyway, you have another movie, I believe.
I do. I have one more.
Yes.
So I also watched We Live in Time.
Yes.
So this is a. Hang on, let me just a second.
Mm-hmm. It's director John Crowley and stars Andrew Garfield, Florence Pugh, and Grace Delaney. Yeah.
So this is a sort of tragic love story of this couple, Tobias and Alma, and it's told non-linearly. So it's told all out of order and it's all over the place, which clearly is what attracted I think the stars to it, that it was sort of trying to do something different. So basically we've got Andrew Garfield's character who is just getting over a divorce, and well, he's about to be divorced, I should say. And he he works for Weetabix,
right?
They're clearly sponsored by Weetabix in this film. So he works for Weetabix, and he's in this hotel, and he's signing the divorce papers, but his pen doesn't work, and he can't find the pen. So he goes to the shop in his dressing gown,
okay,
and gets some pens and a chocolate orange. And as he's coming back, he ends up dropping something in the road, and he gets run over by Alma.
Okay.
Who is a chef, and I won't give too much away about her, because there's sort of things that come up that you find out about her. But she's the chef, and she runs him over, and she takes him to hospital, and he sort of wakes up. It's sort of sat in this chair with you know, bandaged up and with a collar on and stuff. He's like, "What the hell happened? Why are we?" And they're talking, and she's sort of talking to him, and he says, "Do I know you?" And she says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I ran you over." And then from there, it's how they, you know, they end up together, and they've got a kid, and you know, there's a whole sort of it's not giving anything away to, you know, I'm pretty sure it's in the trailer. She's diagnosed with cancer.
Right.
So because it's you know, film, it's shown out of sync, so you get all, you know, you get 1 minute there'll be like the beginning of their relationship, then you'll get like towards the end of their relationship, and then it'll go back again.
Yeah.
Honestly, it didn't fucking need it.
No.
Because towards the end, they completely don't bother anyway.
Yeah.
The end is just linear.
You really need to have a good reason to do that. Otherwise, it does just become disorientating and irritating.
It felt just like a gimmick, really.
Yeah, and gimmicky, I agree. Like
it didn't feel like there was any real need for it. I think what it would have been better, maybe, is if he would have been telling his daughter about their relationship.
Yeah, okay, and she was jumping around the story and stuff.
It would have made more sense if that would have been
That would have been quite a sweet way of doing it, actually.
Yeah, there's a
kind of like a Princess Bride kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a Ryan Reynolds.
Only much sadder, presumably.
Yeah. There's a Ryan Reynolds movie that I'm trying to remember the name of, where he's telling his daughter the story of how he met her mum, because they're divorced, and he's got his daughter for the weekend,
okay,
and he's telling the story of how he met her and what his life was like before that, but he decides not. He says that there were 3 women that he loved, sort of thing, and he decides that he's going to tell his daughter the story, but he's not going to tell her who these 3 women are. He's going to make up. He's giving them each different names, and he's going to tell this story so that she doesn't know which one is her mother.
Okay.
And I really love the way they did that.
That's a nice, yeah.
Is that the one there? Definitely, maybe.
Right. It sounds like a nice idea for a.
It is. It's really sweet, and he tells her things about that. You probably shouldn't tell your kid, but it was done really, it's really sweet. I'm not saying this needed that, but it might have been better if it would have something like that. If there was a reason for it, because there isn't. I couldn't see a reason for showing it out of order. It just felt a little pointless. However, what I will say is these 2 have amazing chemistry.
Okay, that goes a long way. That does go a long way.
They are so good together as this couple. You really believe that they're this, almost thrown together couple that are sort of, they've both got their little troubles and their foibles, and he's your sort of honest guy who wants a family, and she's doesn't really want a family. She wants to sort of be more experiencing and all that that sort of thing. So that they have these sort of these moments where there's the conflict moments of a couple were really well done, and it for me it was just like, this just could have been told in order, and it would have been fine. Yeah, been much better, I think. Yeah. So that it's directed really well. Other than that, I think it's funny, which helps a lot. There's some real there's very sort of self-deprecating British humour in it, which is always appealing. Yeah, and yeah, the 2 leads are so charming, and what I really like is I think recently with her Florence Pugh's portrayal of White Widow, I think there's been this sort of thing where people are saying, oh, she's got no expression, she doesn't do anything, and I know that's the character she's playing in that movie, and I know I have no interest in that movie, and I have no interest in the White Widow. Is that the character's name in that? Is that is that her name? I think she's called the White Widow. Yeah. Okay, I had no idea, so yeah, I was genuinely curious about that. So yeah, I think there's been a lot of people saying that she can't act at the moment, and that is no. The complete opposite. She's wasted on those movies. Yeah, she's completely fucking wasted. She's really talented, really talented. This is the sort of, if people want to see her act, then they should watch this bloody movie. She was one of those casting choices for Marvel where I was like, oh no, why? Like you're so good. I thought, oh good, she's going to bring a lot to it, but I don't think they want her to. No. They really don't want her to be. I saw a quote the other day from her, which she's doing PR and doing what she's told, where she said, "Oh, in Thunderbolts, she's a completely different person," and I was like, "Wow, that's a great fucking advert for you." So if you like this person before, well, they're completely different now. Yeah. I mean, even though she acts exactly the same way in all of the trailers and media that I've seen for it, but fine. Yeah. I mean, there's stuff that she was in quite early called
Midsummer. I thought she was great.
Yeah, she was good in that, but in that movie, it's a lot of more. Her character is miserable in that because of her circumstances. So she's kind of channeling the same sort of thing that I think she's channeling in.
I thought she was good in Oppenheimer as well.
Yeah, she's great in Lady Macbeth.
Oh yes,
really good. And I love her in Fighting with My Family. I thought that was.
Oh, that was a great movie. God, I forgot that. I forgot about
really
that movie.
Funny, and I love that movie. So yeah, she's really, and Andrew Garfield's, Andrew Garfield. He's charming and he's a great actor. And Andrew Garfield is the Spider-Man who doesn't belong in the movies he's in.
Yeah, he's very underrated as an actor. I think
he was too good to be in those movies.
Yes, and too old.
His Spider-Man should have been in better movies because those movies are terrible, but he's fucking good in them.
Yes.
Yeah, it's got a nice little supporting cast. You've got Nave Cusack, Douglas Hodge, Adam James, all doing the little sort of parts. Douglas Hodge plays Reginald, his father, who's quite funny. There's a dinner table scene which is quite sweet. It's a really, really charming sort of tragedy love story that I just don't feel needed the bloody non-linear.
I think there are so few films that need that.
Yeah.
I would like one day I might make a list of all the films that have that and how many I genuinely feel need it. Because there are some where it works, but very few.
Yeah, well, I think
very few.
Tarantino's got a fucking lot to answer for that.
Yeah, well, even he did it unnecessarily with like Kill Bill and stuff. Like even he started doing it, and I was like, "Why are you doing it now, though? There's no reason for this now." Like it's been effective when he's done it in the past, but yeah,
it didn't need it, but I really enjoyed it for what it is. Mainly because of the two.
Well, that chemistry goes a hell of a long way.
Yeah, they are really sweet. There's just some really lovely scenes. There's like don't want to spoil anything, but there's a scene in a petrol station. That's all I'll say, which was really lovely and really funny. And also had Kerry Godliman, who's a great comedy actress in it. There was just some really charming stuff in it, and some really sort of heartbreaking things that just worked really well. It just didn't need that extra stupidness.
Yeah.
So I would really recommend it as a romance movie, mainly for the stars, but yeah, definitely didn't need that fucking the non-linear stuff.
Well, I believe that is it for the movies.
Yeah.
Is there any news?
There's only one thing that sort of really tickled my interest.
Okay.
That was, Takeshi Miike is going to be...
That name alone piques my interest.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be directing Bad Lieutenant Tokyo.
Okay. That's a choice.
Bad Lieutenant, if you're English. Yeah. That's
a choice. Okay. I mean, I'm interested.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bad Lieutenant or Lieutenant, whichever you fall on. The Bad Lieutenant movies are really good, and they really don't actually have anything to do with each other. They're a sort of weird, loose sort of duology, I suppose. I like the original. I've got a lot more love for the second one, mainly because of
Cage
being Cage up to 11, and seeing iguanas and stuff. Takeshi Miike doing a Tokyo set one with I can't remember who the guy they've got starring in it now. Shunaguri. Have Lily James in it and Liv Morgan, who apparently is a WWE superstar. No idea who that is.
I know who that is. Yeah.
I haven't been up on wrestlers for about 20 years.
Traditionally not good actors.
No.
We'll just throw it out there. There are exceptions to that rule, but if I'm throwing it out there first time, as far as I know, that she's going to turn up in something, we'll see.
Yeah.
She could be great, but the odds do not favour it.
So, yeah, that's kind of the only thing. I'm more than happy with that. I can't wait for that. That's one of the few sort of little shining beacons at the moment.
Yeah.
Nothing else, really.
Wow, no one died.
I don't know about
or not that we're aware of, anyway. Which is good news because we've had a lot of that lately.
Yeah.
Well, we've already decided what we're doing next time and the time after, but let's just go with next time. What are we doing next time, Matt?
We've been all organised and everything.
We have.
So next week we will be doing Rollerball.
Yes, the original, obviously.
Yeah.
I really like Rollerball. I'm actually quite excited to rewatch that. That's good.
Yeah, another 50-year-old movie. That's what we're doing.
Unbelievable. But yes, we will be back next week with Rollerball. But until then, stay safe, take care, and we'll catch you next time.